Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Sharehouse Talks Investing. In today's video I'm going to be showing you my Trading212 portfolio and all the companies I've invested in as part of this portfolio and what the gains or losses are like for each of these companies. And as you can see, my total invested amount is currently at £2,668 and I have a return of 11.62%, which is giving me a pound value of £310. So my current portfolio is worth in total £2,978. And now we'll go through each of the companies I've currently invested in and we can see what the losses or gains are like and how much I've invested in each of the companies. But before I do, I want to quickly mention that I have a link in the description below for the Trading212 app. And if you click on that link and deposit £1, both myself and you will receive one free share worth up to £100. So if you are wanting to try the Trading212 app, I would really recommend you click that link and then please comment on what share you received. Okay, let's get started. So the first company I've invested in is 3M. So I have a very small holding in 3M of £24.33, and again it's less than a share, as you can see. And I did buy this when the price was quite high, but again this is gonna be a long-term investment, so I don't mind, and it has a decent dividend yield of 3.4%, so I'll continue to invest in this. The next company I've invested in is AbbVie. Again, this is a very small amount of £1.49, and again I invested in this where the price was quite high, so I missed a dip. So it would have been good to have bought it within this dip, but again it has a really good dividend yield of 5.16% currently, and so yeah, I'll continue to invest within this company as well. Now I must mention all the companies I have on my portfolio are a mix of high dividend yielding companies and growth companies and a couple of speculative companies. So I don't plan on trading these companies regularly, so my portfolio will be more of a buy and long-term hold of approximately 5 to 15 years dependent on the company. The next company I have invested in is the Admiral Group. So the Admiral Group is an insurance broker within the UK, and I have again a small holding of £10.24, and it's almost a third of a share. And the great thing with Admiral is, as you can see, over the last 8 years, it's had a nice growth. And the one thing I like about this company is it's continuously growing. And even with the COVID situation, people still do need car insurance and other kind of insurances. So that's not something that will be really impacted by COVID. So I do see this company continuing to grow, and it also does offer good dividend yield of 3.94%. So this is a company I'll probably put some more money in. And the next company is Apple. Now Apple is, again, as you can see, over this inception since 2013, it's grown by almost 669%. And even the COVID situation hasn't really impacted the growth of this, and in fact it's just steadily been growing. And this does offer a small dividend yield, but I am buying this for the fact that I feel like it's a good growth company to hold. It's a blue chip company that I feel like will continuously grow in value, and yeah, I believe in Apple, and I think holding this would be good for my portfolio. And so I do have a couple of blue chip companies within my portfolio, and as I mentioned previously, my portfolio consists of 60 companies, and I have tried to diversify my portfolio by the large number of companies and sectors, so I don't risk my investment and rely too heavily on one particular company in one particular sector. The next company I've invested in is AT&T. Now AT&T, I really bought this because, as you can see here, around the time of the COVID situation, the value of AT&T dropped significantly, and it's currently trading at approximately $28, and I think that's a really good price for AT&T. And I do feel like at the end of next year the price will maybe go back to where it was, maybe around the $35 to $40 amount. So yeah, I mean, I did really buy this also, not just because the current value is low, but also because it pays a quite good dividend yield of 7.34%. And so yeah, I think this would be another great company to hold for the long term. So another company I've invested in is Aviva. Now Aviva is another insurance broker that provides car insurance, life insurance, house insurance, etc. And unlike Admiral, this does seem to have been impacted by the COVID situation, and I felt like it was again trading a lot lower than the price it's actually worth pre-COVID. So I thought I'd get in with this, and I actually managed to get this at a decent price of approximately £2.80 per share. And again, the great thing about this company is it's a dividend yield company, and I mean it's not the highest dividend yield of 1.85%, but I'm hoping that as it recovers from the COVID situation, maybe towards the end of next year, the growth of the company may get to the pre-COVID levels of approximately £4 per share, and that'll give me almost 100% return of what I invested. And so I'll continue to put a little bit into Aviva as well. BAE Systems is another company. Again, as you'll notice a pattern with my portfolio, I've invested in a number of companies that have been impacted by the COVID situation, but I believe will recover and get to those pre-COVID levels. So, maybe in a couple of years' time, it'll actually provide a much bigger return than maybe it would have if the COVID situation had not happened. And I feel like whereas a lot of investors maybe with these black swan events tend to, sell at the moment, I plan on buying in a lot into these companies. So I have a decent holding in BAE Systems, as you can see. I own currently just under 11 shares, and I bought these at a £4.70 per share. And yeah, as you can see, again, this is a small return currently of 7.71% on this particular share. And BAE Systems is a defense, aerospace, and security company. Okay, the next company on the list is Barclays. Again, this was another purchase that was influenced by the COVID situation and the low price, and I managed to pick this up at £1.24p per share. And as you can see, previous to the COVID situation, it was trading at approximately £1.79 per share. And again, the great thing about Barclays is, well, they did used to offer a dividend yield, but it seems to have cancelled because the UK government instructed all banks to cancel their dividend yields. But I'm hoping that, once the UK government does withdraw that request, the banks may start paying those dividend yields again. But yeah, at the moment, the banks have been requested by the UK government to stop paying dividends. Another pharma biotech company I've invested in is Bayer. And again, I've got just over one share in Bayer, and I'm going to be planning to invest more in the pharma sector, because I feel like this is a particular sector that over the next 3 to 5 years will be growing, and I think Bayer is a great company to invest in. And I'm currently having approximately 11.5% return of what I've invested in. And as you can see, I managed to pick up Bayer quite low, like at the dip. So yeah, I did a good job with picking Bayer up quite cheap. So I mean, I think it's still reasonably cheap compared to where it was pre-COVID. So I may, invest some more in Bayer. And Bayer has a nice dividend yield of 5.75%. So again, I would say most of my portfolio is more heavily orientated towards dividend stocks, but I'm not going to be taking those dividends out. Any dividend earned will be reinvested back into my stocks. The next company is Boohoo. Now, Boohoo, I've actually bought this as a growth company because I think Boohoo will do quite well in the future. And I mean, it's had its ups and downs, but just from I know individuals who shop with Boohoo and tell me how great it is. I don't really have any personal experience with Boohoo, but yeah, I've been told it's a great company, and I think with as a online fashion company, and they tend to sell things quite cheap, and they have their own brands such as Boohoo Man, Pretty Little Things, Nasty Girl, etc. So yeah, I feel like this is a company that has potential to grow in the future. The next company I've invested in is BP. Now with BP, I know over the last, I would say, 6 months to a year, there's been an explosion in activity for stocks, well, green stocks, or clean energy and electric vehicles, etc. But and people seem to have shunned the oil companies, and unlike those individuals, I don't know why they're turning away from BP. BP has been impacted quite heavily from COVID and other external factors, but I still feel like it's a great company to hold, and it pays a really good dividend yield of 9.57%. And I mean, a huge company like BP is not just gonna, one day go out of business. I do feel like, I've read they're already making some acquisitions into some companies that are in the, clean energy space. And I feel like in the future, BP is the sort of company that will continuously invest within clean energy. And, maybe within 10 years, it may be a quite different BP to what we know now. But even in the short term, I don't feel like, fossil fuels are just going to disappear. There's still older cars out there. I mean, I would probably guesstimate 90% of the world's cars run on diesel or petrol. So, it's not like the electric vehicles are just going to take over that market over the next like few years. So, I still feel like BP is a great viable company to invest in that pays a good dividend yield. And again, I bought this when it was quite low, just over £2, which is quite a lot less than it was before. The COVID situation was trading at £4.70. And again, I have a small holding in Bristol Myers Squibb, and Bristol Myers Squibb is another pharma biotech company. And yeah, currently this is giving me a loss of 5.43%. And yeah, it seems to be going up and down quite a bit here, and I seem to have bought this, at a peak, unfortunately. But yeah, maybe on the next dip, I'll just buy a bit more just to reduce my average price down to get back into the green. And yeah, I've also invested in British Tobacco. Again, this is another company that I've invested in that I feel like tobacco is a product that people will always need. It's a staple, so I don't feel like even the COVID situation is going to have a massive impact on people's buying patterns in terms of, smoking cigarettes or using tobacco-based products. So yeah, and also with British Tobacco, they pay a great dividend. So at the moment, it's 7.89%. And the next company I'm investing in is BT Group. Again, I think BT Group has been impacted quite harshly by the COVID situation. Pre-COVID, it was at almost £2, and then just slowly it went down. And again, this is a company I managed to pick up at just over £1, which I believe is very low for a company like BT. I mean, as you can see, since 2012, the price has never been under £2. And then slowly, I mean, it picked up there and went back to around £2. But to be at almost 98p to £1.20, I believe this is a very cheap company right now in terms of, the price now in relation to where it was. So yeah, I'll probably be purchasing some more shares in BT. And I feel like, again, maybe next year or the next few years, once, the economy recovers, this is a company that the share price should pick up and go back to normal. And also, this is another dividend yield paying company, and at the moment it's 12.81%, which obviously means that the reason that dividend yield is so high is because that share price is so low. And this is a company I just picked up recently. Now, this is probably not a typical company you'd see in a lot of buyers portfolios, but for me this was a personal investment of CD Projekt because I'm a big fan of the games. So I've played all the games since the beginning, and also I see it as a company that does care about its fans and the people. So I feel like the IP Witcher is a massive IP, and I've seen the growth over the last 5 to 10 years. And unfortunately, I didn't invest in it to begin with, but it's one of the fastest growing European companies that happens to be in the gaming sector. And I do feel like they've got a game that's coming out, Cyberpunk 2077, I believe. In the next few weeks, and I believe once that game does come out, yeah, there should be a massive spike in the share price and I see that game doing really well. I mean, I believe even this year, The Witcher 3, which is now 4 to 5 years old, has still been doing quite well because of the Netflix series The Witcher. So yeah, I feel like this is another game that will probably be a masterpiece and blockbuster and probably one of the best-selling games of the, well, next year even. So yeah, and especially with people now, at home all the time, I see that as something that may help with the sales, just for the simple fact that people have a lot more spare time now. So it's maybe something they can get involved in, is just buying and playing the game. And yeah, this is probably my single biggest holding within my portfolio. I bought 15 shares at average price of £19.37. So my total investment is £215, and I've got a current return of 8.7% at 26% almost. And again, I feel like the reason this has given me return now, because just a week ago it was actually in the red, is because like I mentioned, the Cyberpunk 2077 game is just around the corner. So I feel like there's a lot of excitement for that amongst investors as well. And one more thing to note is CD Projekt doesn't only own like gaming IPs, it also owns its own gaming platform called GOG, or Good Old Games. So that's another revenue stream for CD Projekt. Now I'll move on to the next bunch of stocks. Just to note, I won't go through each of the stocks individually as I have been, because it may take up too much time. However, let me know in the comment section if in the future that's what you want me to do, go through each individual stock and just, well, give my own brief overview of my thoughts on each particular company, etc. But for the purposes of this video, for the current stocks, I'll just show what the current return is for each of the companies. So the next company I hold is Cineworld, and I own 53 shares in this, and I have a return of just under 1%. And I also own Cisco Systems, again a 1% return. I own 0.25 shares of Coca-Cola, and that's currently in the red slightly. Comcast also in the red slightly. Again, very small holding in EasyJet, in the green. Another small holding in eBay, which is in the red just slightly. I own just over 1 share in ExxonMobil, and that is currently in the green at 12.38%. A very small holding in my Facebook stock, and again that's in the green. I own just over 13 shares in Fuel Cell Energy, and again that's in the red at 7.67%. And I also own Garmin, which is in the green at 1.76%, and I own just near a third of a share. I do have quite a big holding in GSK, which I own 8.2 shares, and that's currently slightly trending in the red. I also own 7 shares in HP Enterprise, and that's currently in the green and giving me a return of plus 15%. I own 64 shares in Hollywood Bowl Group, and that's currently in the green, and that's giving a nice return of 40%, which equates to £36. Also, IAG is giving a very nice return of 50%, and I hold 52 shares in IAG. Also, Imperial Brands is giving a not so bad return of like just over 10%, and I hold 4 shares. I hold 2 shares in Intel, and that's in the green also, and that's at just over 6%, as you can see. I have a very small holding in Johnson & Johnson, and that's currently in the red. I also hold a small holding in JP Morgan Chase, and that's also currently in the red. Those that are currently in the red, I'll probably invest a little bit more whilst they're all in the dips. So in the next portfolio update, I'll have hopefully invested just a little bit more just to try to get those in the green. I hold a big holding in Lloyds Banking Group, and I hold 280 shares, and that's giving me a current return of just over 23%. I also hold 50 shares in Marks and Spencer's, and that's giving a nice return of just under 36%. A very small holding in McDonald's, and that's giving us just under 2%. A negative, again, another small holding in Merck & Co., and that's also giving a minus 4%. I also have a holding of just under a third in Microsoft, and that is in the green, barely. I hold 40 shares in Morrison's, and that's in the green. And I probably will just add a bit more into the Morrison stake because Amazon are currently using Morrison's as one of their grocers in the UK market. And there was discussion of Amazon buying out Morrison's last year. And I feel like in the future, there is a possibility that Morrison's may be bought out by Amazon. So I'm mindful of that. So I'm just going to keep a few extra shares in there. So I will be adding to that. I also hold 20 shares in Nano Dimension, and that's giving a very nice return of 67%. And I also have a very small holding in Nokia at 1.29 shares, and that's giving a slight loss at the moment. And I also have a small share in Novartis, which is a pharmaceutical company, and that's currently in the green at 3.75%. I have 10 shares in PayPoint, and that's giving an okay return at 16.38%. And I have a small share in PepsiCo, and again, it's in the green, barely. And this is my, I think, second largest holding, which is Pfizer. Now, I probably did make a misjudgment here because I went into the Pfizer just as they had announced the news of the vaccine. So share prices rose. So I kind of bought this towards the high end of where the shares were priced at. Yeah, you can see I did buy that at the high end, but I'm hoping that over the next year or two with the vaccine, and I know there's other competitors with similar vaccines, but I'm hoping Pfizer's share price does increase because they'll be the first to market with the vaccine. I have a small holding in Plug Power at 1.4 shares, and that's trading at a slight loss at the moment for me. And same with PPL, it's in the red at the moment, and I have 1.2 shares at that. And here's another insurance broker, and just a very small holding, and that's currently in the green at 4.6%. And also I own a small holding in Salesforce, and I do plan on investing more into this in the future because I do use this sales platform. So it's a customer relationship management software, and it's very good for what it does. And I actually do have a nice experience of using it, and I would say it's probably one of the better CRMs out there. So I think there's a lot of potential because a lot of businesses do use this CRM to manage customer contracts and RFPs and RFIs. The next holding is another pharma company, Sanofi, and again, it's a very small holding, and that's in the green. And Smith and Nephew, which is a medical technology company, and again, that's in the green as well, at 6%. I do plan on investing a bit more in Smith and Nephew because the current COVID situation has impacted the business because a lot of their work is in, I'll show you, is in medical devices, and you know, in terms of like trauma and extremities, surgical business, knee implants. And because a lot of actual surgical procedures have been delayed because of the COVID situation, that has affected the Smith and Nephew business. But I believe going forward, maybe a year later, when surgeries are able to take place, and you know, and people can have their implants and you know, joint repair, etc., like they can be booked in. I feel at that point the share price should begin to rise. So I'll be buying a few more whilst it's up trading lower than it should really be. And I have a small holding in Sony as well, and that's in the green. And this is a new one I added yesterday, SunPower. Again, it's just a very small holding because I've been trying to add a few more renewable energy companies because like you've probably seen before, I have BP and Exxon. So I've tried to add a few more renewable energy companies as well. I also own 30 shares in Tesco, and they're trading in the green at the moment for me, so that's good. And again, as mentioned, trying to invest in a few more green type energy companies. So this is another one, and that's in the green. And this is another medical technology company. I own 7,000 shares, and each share I bought at approximately 0.0004 pence, and this is a penny stock, and I bought this as a speculative buy because I've had some dealings with this company, and I know the sort of products they are involved in, and I know they've opened a new site in the US to help with their cardiac wound care orthopedic services. So again, at the moment, their services have been impacted very much like Smith and Nephew because surgeries and orthopedic procedures have been delayed. But again, once this COVID situation does subside in the future, I feel like all those surgical procedures that had been delayed will be able to take place, and at that point, the company should see an increase in terms of revenue generation, and at that point, the share price should rise as well. And I do feel personally in the future there is potential for this to increase a lot more than it is now. So yeah, this is one for myself for future speculative buy. But if it does make a loss, I'm not going to put so much into it that it may make, because there is the potential it could go down, because it is a penny stock, and we've all been taught that penny stocks are risky. So yeah, and I own a small holding in Verizon, and that's trading in the red at the moment. I have 58 shares in Vodafone, and that's in the green for me, and that's at 14.44%, which is nice. And Wells Fargo, I actually bought this, as you can see from that graph, right at the bottom. What is it, £16.98, or average price of $22.24, and it's currently trading at $28. So yeah, that was a good buy. And this has been a really good one as well, WH Smith. Again, I bought this while the price was bottomed out, and yeah, its current return is at 45.29%. You give me a return of £23.55. So in total, I actually have 60 investments, and you can see here from the allocation that what my biggest holdings are. So the biggest 5 are CD Projekt, Pfizer, Hollywood Bowl, GSK, Lloyds Banking Group. I may want to slightly add some more money to some of these at the bottom, just because the others, you can see these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The top 10 actually make up almost 50% of my portfolio. So yeah, I may want to just increase the amount of money into some of the shares for some of these smaller companies, just so that there's an even distribution. So I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket, so to speak. Also, what I've done is I've also added each of those investments I've just discussed into pies, so I can actually see how each particular sector is doing at the moment. So as you can see, the communication sector is trading at 11% for me a return. And the energy sector is, for me, what I've invested in is low at the moment, but it's giving a 2.59% return. The financial sector seems to be doing well for me. It's at 18.81% return. The food and beverages is at 6.55%. The pharma health is just slightly in the green at 1.2%. The retail consumer sector is at 15.66%. The tech sector is at 13.09%. The travel and leisure sector seems to be doing very well for me. It's at almost 30%. And my speculation is, as I mentioned previously, Tissue Regenix, and that's the only stock in there, but that is, as previously seen, at 13.69%. So the two biggest sectors that seem to be doing well at the moment are the travel and leisure sector, which I bought when it was impacted by COVID. So I managed to get those at a good price, those shares. And the financial sector, which is at 18%. Again, I bought a lot of those stocks when the prices were low before the news of the Pfizer vaccine. Yeah, so those are the current companies in my stock portfolio. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are there any companies you like? And also let me know if you feel like you want me to cover in a little bit more detail each company individually, and you don't mind a much longer video, because otherwise this may have run like half an hour to 40 minutes if I give more of an overview for each company. Or do you prefer it the way I did it, just running through each company shortly? But if you do want to use the Trading212 platform and you haven't currently registered, I have a link in the description below. Just click on the link, enter the promo code, and both myself and you will receive one free share up to £100 when you deposit one single pound. And if you do that, please let me know what company you received, and in my next video I'll also discuss which companies I've received, so it'll be good to know what we both get. But yeah, hit the like button, please subscribe, and turn on the notification so you're notified anytime a new video is released, and do leave comments.